I didn't know I was addicted. Not until I understood why I drank, smoked, or used drugs in the first place. Hi, beautiful soul, and welcome back to Awaken and Align with KP. I'm your host, KP, and today we're diving deep into addiction, but not in the way you've been taught to see it. Addiction isn't just about substances. It's about self-protection, distraction, and ultimately an unhealed part of ourselves calling for attention. For years, I asked myself, what's wrong with me? That question repeated like a broken record. I would replay memories of when I felt better before everything changed, wondering how I got to that point. And if you ever felt like that, like you can't figure out why you keep turning to substances, distractions, or self-sabotaging behaviors, please know that you're not alone. And today I want to share what I've learned about addiction, how I realized that I wasn't addicted to substances, but to escaping, and how true healing isn't just about quitting. It's about what comes after. So the big question is, what's the truth about addiction? Well, it's not what you think. See, I didn't know I was addicted. Not until I understood why I drank, smoked, or used drugs in the first place. We've been told addiction is a genetic predisposition, like it's something coded into us. While genetics play a role, that's only part of the story. The deeper truth is that addiction is often the result of unhealed trauma, not just in our own lives, but passed down generationally through our DNA. But here's what really changed my perspective. I realized that I wasn't addicted to alcohol, nicotine, or any specific drug. I was addicted to escaping my anxiety, escaping discomfort, escaping the parts of myself that I wasn't ready to face. And because I wasn't using the same substance every single day, I thought I was in control until I quit. That's when I saw the real pattern, not just what I used, but why, when, and how I used it. I was in a dark place, and escaping was the attempt that I was making. But what I didn't fully realize was that there was work to do at the bottom of that deep, dark hole before I could climb out. You see, there were versions of me down there that I needed to meet. We call these now protective selves, or the addictions we don't see. When I got sober, I thought I had broken free. Then I came across an episode of Know Thyself podcast featuring Gabby Bernstein, and what she shared shook me to my core. I already discovered this for myself, but when she said it out loud, everything just clicked. She talked about how after quitting drinking and cocaine, she developed a new addiction, protective selves. She had been subconsciously shielding herself from trauma that she wasn't ready to face, just like I was, just like a lot of us are. Addiction doesn't just disappear when you quit. The real healing happens after, when you're forced to sit with yourself without numbing, and finally meet all the parts of you that have been buried, hidden, or protected for years. So the next question is, how do we heal the root cause of its protective selves? And that's why I developed the 6 pillars of life, which I'll share in a minute. Because true healing isn't just about quitting substances. That's just the start. The healing begins when you start to rebuild your entire foundation. To heal addiction holistically, the whole picture, you must focus on 6 pillars of life. So the first one is emotional, sitting with your emotions instead of numbing them. 2 is social, building a support system that nurtures and supports your growth. 3 is financial, shifting from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset. 4 is mental, reprogramming the beliefs that kept you trapped. 5, spiritual, reconnecting with yourself beyond your ego. 6 is physical, detoxing, rebuilding your gut health, anything that happened in your addiction that hurt your body, hurt your biology, and truly nourishing your body again, restoring any vitamins and minerals that got lost or that drive you to feel a part of you that's missing. For example, some people that have low magnesium levels and don't eat enough or supplement with enough magnesium tend to have more anxiety. And this could drive them to, for another example, hitting the vape, trying to get rid of that anxiety, when really it was in your diet all along. For me personally, I used to go to substances to chase this high that I wanted to hold on to and avoid the low lows, but it was the most irrational thinking because if I'm always chasing the highs, then yin and yang happens. Once you get that high, it's inevitable that you're going to have to crash and you're going to hit that low again. And so, how I healed that was through realizing that life is always ebbing and flowing, and so are my emotions. And the best way to deal with this is like think of it like water. Just flow with it. You're not going to be on a boat in the middle of a river and try to fight the current. No, you have to work with the current. You have to ride life's highs, lows, but really what really resonated with me was discovering all of the emotions that come in between those high highs and those low lows instead of constant euphoria and constant sinking depression. Going back and forth between those two was discovering flow states of creativity in between. That brings me happiness, relaxation, and just the bliss that comes with true relaxation and allowing myself to be bored and going into meditative states because I'm not using substances that bring me out of these natural meditative states. And there's so many more emotions that are in between euphoria and depression that I've come to truly enjoy and really appreciate. And now I look forward to every day. Obviously, we all want to be happier overall, more than we were in the past, and that's happened for me. Once I started accepting and truly valuing all the emotions that are in between these two extremes was when I started to become happier overall in my life and really working through what did make me feel low, letting myself fully feel that, let the emotion go through my body without my rational mind judging it, without my ego trying to change it, and just letting myself truly feel it. Then I can observe it afterwards and ask why I felt that way. But a really big game changer for me was when I learned that truly feeling your emotions is the best way to get through them and process them. Otherwise, they'll keep coming back because they're just trying to come up into your body so you can somatically feel them. Emotions aren't supposed to be rational, and you're not supposed to judge them. That's the difference between the ego mind and your heart. And automatic writing helped me with this too. Whenever I would feel blue, sorry, I had to. Whenever I would feel, down, or if I had a really bad anxiety attack that I could feel coming on, I took a leap of faith and I was like, I'm just going to write. I'm just going to try something new instead of fighting or flighting. Instead of running from the emotion or fighting the emotion, I would feel it start and I would just start writing. And I discovered the most beautiful thing that I didn't know I had within myself, which was that I think I'm a great poet. I write amazing poetry now, and that taught me that you can literally alchemize your pain into something beautiful. We're alchemists. When you feel a dark emotion, you don't have to write. I like writing it. It takes me away from judging it to feeling it and putting it into something beautiful, making it something beautiful. Because when you write poetry, it takes out you get to bypass your subconscious. That's what art is. Art can be processing your emotions. Art is bypassing your subconscious and just feeling fully into whatever masterpiece you're creating. And it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It's just fun to do. It's therapeutic. You can paint, you can sing, you can write a song, whatever you want. You can dance. Whatever you feel called to do in those moments, that was one of the things that helped me truly climb out of that dark hole myself and process my emotions instead of escaping them. And then there's a compound effect that comes to this. Every decision you make creates a ripple effect, steering your life in either a positive or a negative direction. At first, we make decisions to protect ourselves from external threats by distractions, numbing, anything that we can do to avoid pain. But over time, those choices start affecting our internal world. Poor nutrition, lack of movement, and disconnection from self create the perfect storm for mental, emotional, and physical distress. The deeper you go into addiction, the harder it becomes to climb out because you're no longer just dealing with psychological addiction, but the biological impact of it as well. Likewise, every decision you make toward healing has a compounding positive effect on your emotional, social, financial, mental, spiritual, and physical health. That's the good news. At one point, your decisions begin to multiply exponentially. Healing isn't about fixing one part of your life, it's about reclaiming all of it. Everything is connected. And ultimately, you choose which direction you want to go. I also made some actionable steps for healing addiction and nervous system regulation because that was one of the biggest things that I needed to do to get out of going back to substances, distractions, and just bypassing my pain altogether. Was I needed to heal my nervous system. I put myself in fight or flight because I had complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And then I just got addicted to fight or flight. It's just something that happens in the brain. So when I quit substances and distractions, which for me, being in a relationship, codependency was one of my addictions. That was one of my distractions. That was one of the ways that I bypassed true healing and recovering and processing my emotions. And so, yeah, that was the first thing I did was as much nervous system regulation as I could do every single day. And honestly, just pick a couple from this list that resonate with you that you want to try out and do one per day. Do what feels good to you, what your soul feels called to do, and that will be what's right for you. The less pressure you put on yourself, the better. So, one is awareness and reflection, recognizing the pattern. You can use journaling prompts like, what am I using this substance to escape or protect myself from? Start noticing when and why cravings arise, what's happening in your body, your mind, and your environment. That's going to give you amazing clues onto what you truly need to heal underneath the addiction. 2, nervous system regulation, releasing tension in healthy ways. So breathwork is one of these things that may be good for you and may not be good for you. You have to check with yourself because at first I couldn't do breath work. It would trigger panic attacks. So if you suffer from any form of PTSD, this might not be the first thing that you want to do. But I ended up getting into breath work later once I detoxed from the substances that I was on. But there are simple ones that might work for you, which box breathing, breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds at the top, breathing out for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and then you repeat it. You could also inhale for 4 and exhale for 6 seconds if that feels better for you. That's a really simple one instead of doing like a whole YouTube video following a breath work, which is great still, but I personally couldn't do that. I was better off doing these simple ones like inhale for 4 seconds, Pause, exhale for 6 seconds, and then your body can learn to calm down and be present in the state that you're in, and it will learn that you're in a safe space. And also, of course, you need to do anything on this list, you should be in a safe space for. Because this is all about teaching your body and your mind that you are no longer in the situations that triggered you, that scared you, that caused you trauma that you are trying to heal from. That's what it is you're retraining your mind and your body that you're in a safe space again. So make sure that you are actually in a safe space again, and you do have at least 1 or 2 people. Doesn't have to be a whole support system, a whole family, a whole group, but start with 1 or 2 people. Tell one person that you're healing and need them to be there for you in simple ways, and that can look different for everyone. And then I really like this one, cold exposure or movement. So a cold shower, which I've always loved. I always would put the shower on really piping hot. It's just my thing to take really hot showers. And then at the end of the shower, like when I'm like pretty much sick of being hot in there, I mean, do whatever you want, but this is how I did it. Then I would put it to freezing and stand in there for 10 seconds or however long it took to just get the cold, freezing water on every inch of my body. So you turn around, you get it on everything. Take a really deep breath, release, and then get your towel on. That's, I think there's a term for that actually. It's called like Arctic. I don't know if it's called Arctic flush. That's what's coming to mind, but it's, there's a term for it that it helps instantly distress you. So that one's really easy. You don't have to pay a bunch of money for therapy for that one, and that's another thing is, personally, I had therapy and there was a lot of tools that I was taught in therapy that helped. So if that's for you, then definitely get yourself a therapist. I just also wanted things to do outside of therapy, and these were the practices that I found. So yeah, that always is really good for anti-anxiety. If you can do more than 5 to 10 seconds under freezing cold water, be my guest. An ice bath would be amazing. I love those. I have done 2 of them in my life, and I wish I could do them every single day, but I'm just not there right now. So 10 seconds after a hot shower in freezing cold water is more than enough to give you the benefits of cold exposure, to bring down your anxiety, to be anti-anxiety without taking a substance. It's like even just a shower. Just a shower that makes you feel good with no pressure of doing anything in there. Just enjoying a nice shower. I had moments where right after I quit drinking, when I noticed it was a problem, I felt so much pain that I felt that really bad warning moment when you feel so much depression that you don't wanna be here anymore, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's the honest truth is that I felt those thoughts coming on, those intrusive thoughts of suicidal thoughts, and I'm sorry if that's a trigger, I'll put trigger warning, but when those thoughts came on, I didn't know what to do because I would turn to alcohol in those situations. I would turn to wine. And so I just took a shower. And after that shower, I felt so relaxed. I didn't have those thoughts anymore. I still felt the pain, but I could write poetry about it instead in that situation. It's like, why didn't I know that showering was anti-anxiety? I was thinking to myself after, like, why didn't anyone tell me this before? Why didn't I know this before, that simply taking a shower when you get really bad intrusive thoughts would help calm your nervous system down and help your physical and mental state so much. Another good thing for nervous system regulation is somatic shaking. So this is actually really cool because after you learn this one, you can see that if you have any animals, any pets, that your animals will do this. And it's to stand and shake your body like animals do after stress. So I've seen my dog do this, where if he gets spooked by something, he'll literally shake his whole body and like shake it off. And that's so simple. You can just do that. somatic shaking. Like, release the tension in your hips, man. Like, dancing, shaking. And I mean, if you're in a public place and you feel stress coming on, like, just go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom and just shake it off, man. Oh god. I really like that one because it's like it just brings you out of the emotion. That's like all a lot of these are, just bring yourself out of that emotion. Don't let it overcome you. So, number 3 on actionable steps for healing and nervous system regulation is rewiring the coping mechanism, which is replacing the escape with presence. So, instead of drinking, try mindful embodiment practices like stretching, slow stretching, self massage, grounding techniques. So, go outside, breathe in some fresh air, go to the beach, enjoy the waves, go on a hike. There are so many things that you can do that feel so good. Grounding is one of the things that's probably almost, I would say, one of the number 3 things that's helped my mental health, if not the number 1 thing that's helped my mental health the most in the past year, is grounding. Another one is that you can create a safety anchor, a mantra, object, or movement that reminds you that I am safe in my body. So this can be symbolic of an anchor. You can say something in your head. Like for years, I would always just be like, in my head, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Text a friend. There's a lot of things you can do for this one that can just anchor you to remind you that you're safe in your body. Number 4 is healing the root cause. So inner work and emotional processing. This one is more in depth and challenging, but it's also one of the most rewarding things you can do for your long-term mental health and happiness overall. Within this category is inner child work. Ask yourself, what part of me is still seeking comfort and safety? Did you grow up in an environment that you didn't feel safe in? Did you grow up in an environment that you didn't feel loved enough in? Did you not know who to go to when you were a baby or a kid or even a lost teenager? What part of you in your past is still seeking comfort and safety? And how can you become that person that can give that to yourself? That's how you heal your inner child. I wish someone told me that. I was like tripping for a while, trying to figure out how do I heal my inner child? How do I heal my inner child? And it's like there's like just chaos on the internet about it. I'm like, I couldn't figure it out. And finally, I had this epiphany moment through my healing work, or I was doing one of those really deep stretching exercises. I was just breathing super deeply and stretching deeply and slowly. And I was doing that for, I swear, like an hour. It felt like it. And finally, and I had a breakthrough in the middle of that where I saw myself as a child, so my inner child, and then I saw my higher self, the potential that I could become. And then I saw that there was a bridge in between and that I needed to become my higher self to bridge the gap between me and my inner child. And if that makes sense to you, is I realized that my inner child needed help and that there is this better version of me and I'm the bridge. No one else, nothing else. I become the person who I needed. And I reparent the inner child by whenever these emotions arise that I need to heal from something that happened in my childhood or how my childhood was. And by the way, no one's childhood is perfect. I have the best family I could ever ask for. And there's still like just little things that can affect you so much that no one could have even like solved for you. This is normal. Like every single person gets hurt when they're a kid emotionally in some way. And it doesn't even have to be your family. It could be friends. It could be strangers. It could be an experience where someone close to you was distracted and couldn't help you with something and you didn't know how to ask for it. So what we need to do now is when that emotion comes up, say, it's okay, I'm here for you. Like pretend like your inner child's like on your shoulder. That's what you can do with a lot of negative emotions that arise is pretend like they're right here and they're like a cute little monster or a baby or whatever you want to picture, and see them outside of you as if like you're soothing them. That's how you reparent your inner child. And then shadow work is also in this subcategory in this list of healing the root cause and inner work / emotional processing. I love shadow work. Shadow work is working with your dark side. So everyone has a light side and a dark side and a bunch of sides in between. So it's becoming aware of your dark side and fully accepting him, her, they, them, whatever, fully accepting it for what it is. Like my part of my dark side was impulsivity, my adventurousness, which go together. So being impulsive, always wanting too much stimulation. And now I'm like, I'm good without all that stimulation, but I still have that adventurous side. And now I just transmute it differently because I did so much shadow work. So a good shadow work prompt to get to know this dark side of you is, what is this addiction protecting me from? What do I fear facing? And that's how you can start to get to know part of the dark side of you. 5 is building a new identity. So embodying your true self underneath all the protective selves that you've formed. To do this, you need to surround yourself with environments, people, and routines that support your new path. So when we do healing work like this, where we are shedding and pruning away the protective selves that we've created to protect ourselves, and no judgment there, we all have them, right? These will fall away, and naturally, a lot of things that came with each protective self that we've formed will shed away with them. So people, relationships in your life, they might not resonate with you anymore. You might not connect with the same people, and that's okay. Your relationships will change. And lean into this. This is going to make you happier overall. Your daily routine might change. The environments that you enjoy, feel safe in will change. This was one of the biggest things for me. I was like, what, I don't want to go to this party anymore? I don't want to go hang in this crowd anymore? I don't want to be around these people and talk about this bullshit anymore. No offense. Like, they'll heal too. They'll come around. So, like, I'm not judging anyone. I was that person. And that's like basically a spiritual awakening right there, is the things that you once enjoyed, the people, places, routines, habits, activities that you once enjoyed, because you're holistically healing every single part of your life, all of those are going to change. And be brave here, because it can be scary, but this is such a big step. This is a symptom of you stepping into a higher version of yourself, a happier version of yourself. That's a big sign of a spiritual awakening, is just, and we don't even have to use the word spiritual awakening. It's just growth, spiritual growth, holistic growth. The things that used to resonate with you don't resonate with you anymore, because you're literally vibrating at a higher frequency. Be so proud about that. Change your mindset to not being scared. I mean, you can still be scared about it, but realize at least that you've become up here. You were down here, you were vibrating lower. That's why you were with these people at these places doing these things. Now you're vibrating higher. Now you want to be with these people or this person or your dog. Like me, I was just with my dog half the time. Now I'm with my family all the time at these places, and I'm at home half the time. I'm in the woods all the time. I love hiking and the beach. So high vibrational places now, high vibrational people, high vibrational places, doing high vibrational things. Meditation, singing, dancing, cooking, freaking, I didn't clean when I was low vibrational. Now I like cleaning because it makes me feel better. It literally gives me an anti-anxiety. When I walk into my space and it's clean, I'm like, oh, that feels like a shot at tequila. I'm so sorry. I should not make that joke. I might not put that in there, but it's kind of funny. So I'm sorry. I'm going to keep that. I know. I might keep that in. A daily affirmation that you can say when you are in this process is, I am safe in my body. I trust myself to feel and process my emotions fully. It's so empowering when you start to trust yourself, and through this process of healing, each little step will create a better relationship between you and yourself. Self-love is being nurtured and fostered, and self-trust. It's amazing. I did not trust myself before this, and now I'm almost fully there. Not fully healed, and maybe we never will be, but we're a lot happier. And I just want to end with a few questions to support you on this journey. Instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Start asking, what am I protecting myself from? Because once you start asking the right questions, the answers will find you. Until next time, stay awake, stay aligned, and keep stepping into your highest self. XOXO KP.